My name is Elon Osborne, and I like to talk about movies, audio, and music. And you may have seen this particular community post I did a couple weeks ago on my YouTube page that talked about how I just recently purchased Master and Commander on Blu-ray because it has yet to have a 4K remastered release. And just FYI, the studio that did Master and Commander is Miramax, which was owned by Disney, but then they sold it in 2010, I think it was 2010, and then that company sold it again in 2016, which is now owned by a subsidiary of Al Jazeera. So honestly, who knows? It's all up in the air if we are actually going to get a 4K Dolby Atmos remaster. So here's hoping someday, but the reason I want to bring this up is because even though it's on Blu-ray and even though it's only mastered in 5.1 DTS Master HD audio, it still sounded incredible. I mean, yes, my IOTA AVX17 preamp did upmix it via DTS Neural X, but just the fact that a Blu-ray that is mastered in 5.1 can still sound as good as it did is just a reminder to not forget about Blu-ray. I know everybody's all hopped up on Atmos and 4K and you gotta have the best of the best to have the best experience, but if you cannot find something in 4K, or if you just don't want to spend that extra money on the 4K version, don't forget about Blu-ray. If you look at sales comparing DVD to Blu-ray to 4K, 4K is increasing, yes, but it's still about, 10% of the market. Regular DVDs are still king when it comes to physical media sales. Did you know that? Just because they're so cheap. And you might go to a retail store and run into some sort of DVD bin that just has a whole bunch of different titles for $3, $5, $8, whatever. I know you can find similar deals with 4K titles, come holiday shopping season, but still. If you've got a TV with an excellent upscaler that can scale a DVD to 1080p or even 4K, all things considered, it might still even be better than streaming. Well, maybe not so much the video quality, but definitely the sound. Me personally, I usually tend to buy Blu-rays when it comes to getting stuff for my kids. Just because they couldn't care less if it was 4K or 1080p or even DVD quality, or if it sounded good or not. At least for now, because I hope that they gain daddy's appreciation for good picture and sound when they're older. Like honestly, just yesterday I went to Best Buy and I got The Bad Guys on Blu-ray because it also comes with a digital copy of it. So I threw that on Vudu. Now we can watch it wherever we want. But also, if we decide we want to watch that in the theater, we can pop in the DVD and it looks and sounds great. The jump from 1080p to 4K when it comes to animated movies, it's not that big of a difference when it comes to picture quality because we're dealing with computer graphics. So it's not like something like from the 80s or 90s that was shot on film and then they scanned that film into 4K resolution, and now you can see every pore on their face, etc. No, it's not like that with animation because everyone's skin is pretty much smooth. There are some select few animated films that I will get in 4K, such as a particular few Pixar films, but that's not just because I want the best picture quality possible and audio quality possible. That's also kind of me nerding out because I'm always interested and have been interested since I was a kid to see the progression of how far animation has come. Like when I first saw Toy Story 4, some of those wide shots of the fair looked photorealistic. I was blown away. So that kind of thing just kind of really nerds me out, and I love seeing those types of things. And the advancements in technology to show just how amazing animation has become nowadays. Now, I haven't gotten it yet, but maybe this holiday shopping season I'm gonna get Lightyear on 4K. Just because it's Pixar's latest, the lighting, the textures, the set design, the ships, the guns, the landscapes, everything about it just looked gorgeous. And that was just on Disney+. But my family does own quite a few animated films just on regular Blu-ray, like the Lego Movie 1 and 2, How to Train Your Dragon 1 and 2, which, by the way, How to Train Your Dragon 2 is one of the most underrated animated films out there. I think it got overshadowed by some Pixar movie the same year it came out, so it didn't win the Oscar, but we watched it the other day, and gosh, it just looks amazing. And it sounded great too. And also with Disney recently buying Fox Fox's entire movie catalog is just up in the air. Who knows if and when we will get anything from Fox's library remastered in 4K and Dolby Atmos or whatever. Because you name it, kids titles or even stuff that I want to watch that I don't own, that I wish was streaming somewhere, is just not available. So there's no shame in trying to find those titles that you really want to own and purchasing them just on regular Blu-ray. Although going back to Master and Commander, I will admit that the Blu-ray video quality definitely could use an upgrade. There were definitely some moments on the deck of the ship where there's lots of fog and it's a pretty dark scene where there was some digital artifacts that you could see, not just film grained, but just kind of some artifacts, especially with gradients and that kind of thing. But man, just thinking about it, I am still blown away with the attention to detail that Master and Commander had with its sound design in general. Every single scene that was below deck, you were just surrounded on all sides with the creaking and just wood splitting, footsteps going through, the subtle waves crashing outside of the ship. And I think it's got one of the coolest opening scenes when it comes to just world building. Like, where are we? What time period are we in? And what's going to happen? Because there's no dialogue for quite a while. We start off with just this very subtle wind and waves crashing from a high angle with the ship on the sea with some words that go across the screen that we gotta read. And then people are just walking through the ship, going on the deck of the ship. There's chickens on the deck. And the person on deck on watch tells the captain that there's something in the distance that he thought he saw. I mean, it's almost like they treated it like a horror movie. Just because there's this phantom presence and this evil that's lurking in the fog beyond where they can actually see anything. But there's no music and hardly any dialogue, and it's just, you're just there in the scene with all these noises surrounding you. And then it gets cranked up to 11 once the actual ship starts firing upon them and cannonballs are splintering wood and everything. I think it's one of the coolest openings. But if you do decide to get Master and Commander on Blu-ray, or maybe if you already have it and want to revisit it, this time I really want you to pay attention to the sound design. And even in the scenes between the action, the more subtle scenes, the scenes where there's just dialogue, there's still always something going on because it's on a big ship. So it's those fine, subtle details that make it just seem so realistic and really put you in the middle of the action. So anywho, I just wanted to quickly go over this topic because Blu-ray is still not dead. I mean, just look at the numbers of sales. So if you have a big old 5.1.4, 7.1.4, or beyond system, and you've got a killer subwoofer, or 2, or 3, or 4, most Blu-ray titles were mastered in DTS-HD master audio, which still sounds great on any system. So if you're not sure when or even if a beloved title will ever come out on 4K Blu-ray, you might just want to get the Blu-ray copy now. At this point, depending on the title, Blu-rays seem to be hovering around $15, $16 at the most. Which is great, since the going rate for a brand new 4K is $30. Ugh. So this holiday shopping season that's coming up pretty soon, just don't forget about Blu-ray, because it didn't forget about you.
And there you have it.
Thank you for joining me on today's episode. Now, what say you? Is it 4K or bust when it comes to collecting physical media? When's the last time you purchased something that was just regular Blu-ray? Do you even still buy regular DVDs from time to time? Let's start a conversation, people. As always, please be kind to each other out there. Don't just watch TV and movies, experience them. And of course, always be listening. I'm gonna need a film here later. Are you gonna get out of the way? What about you? Stretchy dog? Yeah.